This week, it seems like Crimson Desert might not be the generation next after all. Then the only thing faster than Pepsi Man is the DLSS 5 backlash as Nvidia tries to keep up. And finally, nothing else is a Pepsi, but Pepsi Man is our inflation deflation challenge this week.
Welcome to episode 386 of the Game Deflators podcast. My name's John, and I am joined by Ryan.
Hey, everybody, this is Ryan here at Game Deflators podcast. We like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we're here for the love of it in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
I love it. More props. So I told my wife the other day, I'm like, oh, yeah, we're going to be playing Noid, and we're going to have pizza. She's like, you said pizza? When is this happening? I think it's this week, right? She's like, okay, so we're getting Domino's on, I guess it would have been Thursday at the time, right? And I was like, no, it turns out it's next week. She's like, well, can we still have pizza? And then next week also have pizza? I'm like, all right, I guess we're both eating Domino's next week.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. Me and Angela, we're both pumped for the pizza. I got really excited when I realized, oh yeah, that means pizza. Thanks to all the props.
Yeah, we could
from our not sponsors could be sponsors.
We could have done a Chester Cheetah. That would have been a good one too. Yeah, there's a lot. You know what?
But then we'd have to record a podcast with orange fingers.
That's true. Next year we should do another food month. This is great. I think it was successful. Hopefully
we'll
all
have
of them
to do it in like November though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for food in general. Yeah.
This week we're playing the mashed potato game.
I wonder if there is one.
Wait, there was a mashed potato game? Yeah, it's like $800. It was on the Genesis.
We got to play that like prototype of the raisins game, or it's a raisins game, right?
Yeah, the California raisins.
Yeah, we got to do that one. Well, of course, we are going to be talking Pepsi Man during this week's inflation deflation episode, or not episode, but the overall segment that we have. But you can find us on thegamedeflators.com, our currently out-of-date website. We're also on social media at Game Deflators and at The Game Deflators. If you are watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. Appreciate you sticking around. Subscribe, comment, all the good stuff that comes with it. Like it. That helps too. And then, of course...
Tell us what your favorite book on John's shelf is.
I don't think anybody can see that, can they?
I don't know. Maybe they got really good vision.
Maybe. I get good comments on that every now and then. So, pretty solid. Of course, we are a podcast as well. So if you're hearing us on audio, great. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe on that too. Comment, leave us 5 stars, maybe 10 stars. And let's move on. Pickups. So, I'm sure this will be seen on the final edit, but I'll move it in closer.
One.
So we got...
That's a big box. How many pieces in that, baby?
The Rivendell set is 10,316. No, that's a number. 6,167 pieces.
Okay.
So to put it in perspective, my tower was like 5,500. So it's about 600 more pieces.
Dang.
Yeah. So
that's a lot of elf.
That tower... It took me all 3 Lord of the Rings extended edition movies to build it. So I watched it while I built it. So
you're doing The Hobbit this time?
Yeah, precisely.
Oh man, that third movie is terrible.
It's not that bad. But yeah,
I've watched all 3 of those movies a couple of times because I really like the first Hobbit. I don't know why everybody had such a bug up their butt about it. And the second one's okay. And I know I've seen the third one at least twice all the way through, and I don't remember much of it, and I don't remember it being all that good.
It was all right. I mean, it wasn't my favorite, but it ended the book well, or the movie series. So it is what it is. But there's also the animated movie that came out. What's it called? I don't remember. But there's that one. So if I need to...
Like the old... Bakshi one?
No, the newest one. It came out like last year.
What?
Yeah, there was an animated Lord of the Rings film. You didn't know that? I forget the name. Animated Lord of the Rings. Let's see, 2025.
I know they're like making a Gollum movie.
Yeah, that would be cool too. The War of Rohirrim.
Yeah, as good as the game.
The War of Rohirrim.
War of Rohirrim. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, check it out. Came out last year in February. So it's set 183 years before Lord of the Rings. and it
You should watch
centers.
the old Bakshi Lord of the Rings.
I actually have those, so I do need to watch Fed as well. Yeah, so the Gollum one, I am pretty excited about that because I do like his story overall. The Hobbit, pretty decent fan of those, and then of course the originals are great. The original 3 movies.
Did you watch the show? I watched like 2 episodes of that show.
I watched season 1. We didn't start season 2, so it was all right. I mean, it wasn't terrible. So those shows get a lot of hate. I think, or that show specifically gets a lot of hate from fans because it's just. I think one of the things that came out was like because there's a black elf or something, and people were pissed off about that. I'm like, so like I get that it's not canon per se,
grow up,
but like,
people.
Weren't these books made in like the 30s or 40s? So
wait, those are just regular humans playing elves. They're not real elves and dwarves.
Yeah, so I mean the whole.
I've seen Elijah Wood. He's tall. He's faking it.
I mean, I don't know if their elves have facial hair in the show. I don't remember, but like they're not technically supposed to. But yeah, I mean, there's backlash on stupid stuff like that. So like, I take people's opinion on that very like lightly. And just enjoy it for what it is. Like most movies, right? If I see a movie that's got like a 60%, I go in with the idea of, all right, somebody else has a 60%, but that's still like an average score. Somebody else thought it was an 80, so maybe I'll like it, right? I mean, that's the general idea there that I go in with, not to hate a film before I actually check it out. Now, there are certain things that I do think are going to fail pretty drastically, like, High Guard. Right off the bat, I knew that was gonna be trash, and nobody wanted it. But when it comes to other things, I try to keep an open mind when possible. So, but I got that pickup, and then I also got this at Game On Expo. This is a Copper Jacket from Monsoon Studios. So a little complete in box game here. Idea being, it says your former boss, Commander Zeslovsky, has kidnapped your wife to be in an attempt to make you do his dirty work. Your mission is to defeat this sinister commander and rescue the love of your life. I thought it was pretty cool. So supporting a small indie dev at the conference, and a little complete in box indie game, not too bad.
What's it for?
It's for NES, so definitely pick that one up. And then as far as that's pickups. Currently playing, I'll go over Game On Expo pretty quick for that. Great event. Always enjoyed. I got to meet the PlayStation Ain't Dead guys. Met them in person, so it was pretty cool to check, hang out with them for a little bit. And then
how's old Will doing?
Will was good. He was all good. He was there with Sean and his girlfriend, and then Reggie was there, but I didn't see him. And then sorry to them, I forget the other guy that was with him. Offhand, but they had, I think it was 4 of them there at the event. They had a little table and we were just chilling. I also saw Jim at Crit Hit Con. So they're actually not doing the event this year, from what he told me. So that kind of sucks, but they were there with all the board games and D&D tables and all that good stuff that was going down. And then I guess some shout outs to some of the people I met. So Monsoon Studios was one of them. And then also the guys, or the team at Break Battle and Roll. They're like a D&D podcast. So it was pretty cool to chat with them. And then some of these other folks, like I said, Nick over at Monsoon Studios, who I bought that game from. And then Sutter Pro Games. They had a pretty cool game as well that I checked out. So just a few of the folks that I met. And then what else about the events? Darren. 32-bit library. Saw him, chatted with him and his wife for a little bit, so it was pretty nice. And no Paul Niemeyer this year. He wasn't there.
No on the Niemeyer.
Nope, he was not present. So I guess he had a conflict this year. I hadn't talked.
I mean, he's been like every year since we met him, right?
Yeah,
so
but there was other people.
There's only so many times maybe you want to come down.
Well, there were other people that had been there for every single year that we've been attending. He probably had a conflict of some sort. I haven't seen him since I was in Chicago last year, so I'll have to catch up with him at some point. But yeah, Game On Expo overall was great. As always, I enjoy the amount of vendors. I enjoyed a variety of vendors and artists that are present. This year, there was a lot more indie devs, which is fantastic. It was a little lacking, I think, last year and the year prior. for indie devs. So it was pretty cool. And then there were a few like board game folks that were there as well, which was pretty nice to see as well. So pretty cool and a great variety of games. My son had a blast, so he was with me, of course. He was playing some racing games on arcades. He played a little bit of something on like a Neo Geo, I want to say. So he was screwing around with that. And then, of course, anything that has, like gun games, he's all about it, man. Like we played a Jurassic Park game at our local theater all the time. That's like his favorite thing ever, to just sit back and kill dinosaurs with a giant gun. So we were doing the same thing with
The Jurassic Park game's sick.
yeah,
At least the old one was, if it's the same one.
no, it's a newer one, but it's still pretty cool. But he was playing something where you're shooting ninjas. I don't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, he had a blast with that. We lost money in the or not lost money, but we wasted our money on the like arcade claw machine section. I swear, like every single one of those is rigged. There's no,
They've removed them from a bunch of places up here in Washington, and
yeah,
I guess maybe they passed some new law or something. I'm not sure.
well, like some of these machines, like it was like each token was $1, right? And so the little prize you're getting out of it can't be that great. Or not that expensive, right? And so I'm like, I'm trying it for my son, of course, and he was so excited because I grabbed one and the entire machine shook and then it came loose. Like I had, the claw had this nice he was like, yay, he was so excited, and then it dropped because the whole machine shook. Like that's kind of messed up. The whole machine is shaking when it hits the top. Like I clearly had it. It was a very violent.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened if you were a better father, John.
It wouldn't have happened. I was a better dad. Yeah, he did get like. So of all the things, like there was a table that had $10 Super Mario plushes of sorts, and I'm like, hey, do you want a little? He calls it stuffy. I'm like, you want a stuffy? And he's like, no, I don't want Mario. I'm like, okay. So he's like, I want to play that. He wants to play the claw machines because he enjoys playing the claw machines. Whenever we go to theater, there's one that's specifically for younger kids where you're pretty much guaranteed to win, right? So he wanted to do claw machines. So I spent like $5 to do 5 claw machines. And of course, one of the machines was broken, ate my tokens. So I had to get more tokens from them. And then the last one ate my token. By then I was like, all right, I'm done. And then we tried the little ones, and the little ones, they were so loose on the claw. You drop it down and nothing. It would just like rubbed off. It was impossible. There was no way you were going to win on that machine. So honestly, like in terms of ethics for a conference and claw machines, I wasn't a big fan of that specifically. I was actually, it wasn't a matter of like using the money to do that. It was more so the fact that I didn't feel like I had any shot whatsoever. Most times you do a claw machine, you kind of figure I got a little bit of a shot. Even if you pick it up and it falls on something else, you generally have there's a percentage that you might actually get something. With this, there was no shot whatsoever. It was very clearly like you were not going to win. But then we ended up coming by the Break Battle and Roll guys, and they had a dice goblin plush, and it had it was a little plush goblin with a dice stuck in the middle of its hands, and he's like, I want that one. I'm like, all right, cool. That was the most expensive thing I could have bought him out of all the stuffed things.
Waiting for you to run into the donut guy.
Donut guy? The wood donut guy? I didn't see anything like that. Yeah, he probably would have wanted that too.
He goes to like gaming conventions. Like I'm waiting
I didn't
for
see him.
you to see him at one, and all his eyes just light up, and you're like, oh, I gotta wait. How much?
I was looking for anything like pink and sprinkles because donuts, but yeah, I didn't see anything. But yeah, overall, great variety of voice actors, great variety of devs. Some folks that were, not, I don't want to say like A-list versus B-list, but folks that were clearly not like, whoever's upper echelon at this point in time in voice acting. You know that every few years it shifts, right? Like somebody gets a big role.
Ben Starr wasn't there.
Yeah, like there's some years where a few people get some really big roles and they hold that and they go to cons and are really big and everybody wants to see them. And then there's other years where people just, they're who was one of them? Chip, so I forget his name. Crispin Freeman, is that his name? I think that's who it was. He used to be huge at conventions. I don't think I've seen a convention that he's been present at in the last few years, at least not near me. So, but he was a guy back in like 2010, 2011, because I think he had done Hellsing work, if I recall, or some big anime at the time. And he was like everywhere. he was at every convention I could think of. Other guys like Little Karibo, for example, were everywhere, and then they've kind of fallen off over the years as well. So, not to say that they're not good at what they do, they just clearly haven't had, I guess, like a huge role that's bringing them to conventions. Like the Final Fantasy cast, for example, was there. So, and then they might not have that like long-term notoriety. Like I think last year they had the cast, as much of a cast as they could for like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So that was obviously a big get for all of those folks. So you do have that that nostalgia component that's tied into it. So, so that was it for that. And then I started watching the One Piece live action this week. That's been pretty good.
I haven't. I want to.
So we just got to what is it, Drum Island with Wapple is where we just got. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying it. Obviously, it cuts out a lot of things compared to the anime, but it's pretty good. I actually, I tried to trick my wife. I was like, so if I take the manga and I try to find like an ebook version of it, not an ebook, but a like an audiobook version of the manga, would you listen to it? She's like, absolutely not. She's like, I'll watch the live action, but I won't watch or I won't read, the manga, and I won't watch the anime. It's too long. I'm like, well, that's out the window now. But she's enjoying the show as well. And so like when Wapple comes up, she's like, what does the devil fruit do? I'm like, oh, like it gives all these people these crazy powers. And she sees Wapple and she's like, doesn't he already have special powers? Like, nope, you'll see after this devil fruit thing happens, what's occurring. But she's enjoying all the wackiness that comes from the different characters and, like, what is it? Baroque works, like all the craziness tied to Baroque works. She's like, this is insane. All of the things happening with Baroque works. So, the other thing that we were playing her D&D campaign. I'm trying to remember offhand what we did. Oh, we fought like giant lobster creatures, which was pretty cool. My character is still concealed in his magical abilities in this world.
Okay.
So there's some people that have like maybe a sneaking suspicion that my character Pip Thorn Whistle is doing something, but they're not sure. So I'm still playing as like my character's acting a little bit where, for example, in this particular battle, we're on a coast and there's rocks everywhere. And my character's, he has like his big brother, which is Ginny's character, funny enough. So she's like, her character is like a 30 or 40-year-old paladin. I'm a 17-year-old sorcerer who's hiding his abilities and playing, like the scaredy cat. And so my character, to try and help the party because he doesn't want to like out himself as a sorcerer, hides in like these rocks. And her character is like, oh, good thinking. Like you hide in that corner. And at some point, I'm trying to think of things I can do that are going to be a little inconspicuous or give like hints that things are occurring. So I used a mage hand and I booped the lobster creature on like its face to try and cause
the lobster snoot.
Yeah, whatever it was. I lobster snooted to try and cause or give somebody advantage. And the whole party was like, a magical hand came out of nowhere. Like, that's very odd. And so when we went back after, defeating that creature and my mentor was there, the guy that's training my character. And they're like, oh, have you ever seen, a hand like that just appear? And they're like, oh, that's very weird magic indeed. And my character just kind of looks at his mentor and gives a little smirk. And he's like, we have a little moment together. We're chatting, and he says, "Oh, it seems like your powers are coming along nicely. What have you done recently?" And I explain the things that have happened. And then Thomas's character, mine, currently have a mummified goblin penis war occurring. Yeah. So we had a battle.
Wait, you have enough of those to have a war with them?
So it's one goblin.
Did you
penis.
raid a goblin tomb?
So no, we had we fought a goblin and some other creatures. I don't remember what it was in the first session. And so he decided to chop off the goblin penis to throw it in my character's hotel room or in room while we were sleeping the first night. Of course, he did that. My character decided to dry it out so it'd be mummified. And so now we're sneaking it on each other throughout the campaign, but there's been moments where he was trying to, I don't know, he was talking about like how he had just defeated a bunch of goblins. Like I can just imagine your characters like holding this thing in the air, being like, "This will happen to all of our enemies." So it's been, Thomas and I playing some D&D is, not the
Yeah.
best, but it's been pretty funny. Some of the things that he and I
Dixon
have been doing.
Dungeons.
What, Dixon Dungeons? Yeah, that's pretty much what D&D turns into. Uh, but yeah, so like I snuck it, and I'm still playing like this young character doesn't know any better, right? So like I took the dried goblin penis and I tried to sneak it into his bag. Well, his passive perception is much better to my sleight of hand, and so he caught me and he's like, why are you putting this in my bag? I'm like, oh, you dropped it. I just wanted to give it back to you. So, little things like that. And he's like, you better watch out. You're gonna have more of this coming your way. So it's just been a good time with this campaign. We're enjoying it. And then Valkyrie profile, continuing to play that, of course. So the dungeon I was in completely destroyed me. So I had to exit that dungeon and then go to another dungeon, which is also destroying me. I'm like, all right, I got to be like too low of a level. Apparently, I'm actually the right level for this. But what I need to do is find some more magical items to be able to boost up my attack and things of that nature against what I'm fighting. But so far, so good. I mean, still enjoying the story. My one thought is I could technically progress in the game. Like if I get stuck, I could keep training and leveling up in certain areas. And as long as I send the character back for the war, I can continue to have good status and just keep fighting and leveling up as I need to. So you get in the game like experience orbs that you can use on your characters to boost their levels up if they're too low of a level. So I could hypothetically like finish a section, level somebody up to what they need to level up to, use experience orbs to do that, send them off, and then continue to level up my main characters I'm using to progress in the game. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I wish I would have learned that trick a little sooner because I
Yeah,
probably
it's
would have.
kind of something you got to manage, huh?
Yeah. And I'm playing it on hard, which doesn't exactly help either. So, but we'll see. It's supposed to be like a 60-hour game, and I'm only 15 hours in. So I got a long
I
ways
thought
to
you
go.
were further.
I thought I was too. And then I looked up how long it should take to beat it, and it says 60 hours on average. But I'm on chapter 4 out of, I think, 10 chapters. So realistically, I'm halfway through the game in terms of length, but hour
Well, and a
wise,
lot
I'm
of
not.
games are more like front loaded.
Maybe. I don't know. But it's been pretty decent overall. So that's it for me. I know it was a long winded pickup and currently playing.
That's good. So for me, I didn't pick up anything. I did play, I don't know, a handful of rounds in Guilty Gear and got my ass handed to me a bunch. But I returned some ass handings. There was actually there was one night when like so whenever somebody's new to a character, like even if they've played another character, you always like start from the bottom and you have to do like 10 matches to like do your placement. And since I'm such a low rank, I think a lot of times if there's not a lot of people online, it probably pairs you up against like a low person to like test you. And so there's a lot of times where I've gone on and it's like I'll fight the same person who's like doing their trial matches like 3 or 4 times and just kind of beat on them a little bit if they're like newer than me. And sometimes if we're like kind of about the same level, that's kind of fun. And sometimes it's somebody who's obviously like played a ton and they're just starting a new character and they just like whoop me like 2-0 and it's like not even a contest, but it's always pretty fun. But I had my first like mirror match where I was playing somebody who plays the character that I play, and they definitely had to be new because at the beginning of both matches I like forgot I was the other color character and I was playing like the regular color for like the first 5 or 10 seconds of the match and just like was still able to come back and win. So I definitely feel like I'm starting to grow. Like I definitely feel like I'm in a situation where like I can make some mistakes and I can play defensively and I can come back. And I really try to try to think about my defense a lot more when I'm playing, and I try to like I know the button that I can hit to stop somebody and make it my turn again a lot of the time. I've started practicing like a couple little things with some combo stuff. Um so I'll keep growing and keep seeing where this goes.
Did you
Next week,
do that event, or is that what you're about to mention at the
that's
college?
what I was going to mention. So it's like, no, so the college, I found out like that was a thing, like when it was happening, or like a couple days, I think, after it had happened the last time. The next one is going to be like next week, and I won't be in town.
Hmm.
So the first time I'm going to go to an event is going to be at SakuraCon, which is going to be like a convention that's
Yeah.
going to be the first week of April. And I did sign up for that because there's only like 32 slots.
I think
So I'm
that's
definitely going to get crushed.
I think that's Washington's largest anime convention, actually, SakuraCon.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to have some fun, hopefully meet some people, and then hopefully meet some people that I'll be able to see the next month. Like if I go to the Highline College, what was it, like the Backstreet Brawl or something. But looking at like the local scene now that I've been kind of on the Discord, like I do see a lot of posts, and a lot of them are kind of far away because it covers kind of the whole PNW, the area, but there's got to be other events and stuff that'll be nearby. So hopefully I can meet some people and play some in person, and find some people that I can like work with and get better with, because it's always better like to know like an actual person, or to just like be able to put in more reps than just searching for like a queue in ranked, which can kind of take a while sometimes.
And of course, plug the podcast, right?
Yep, plug the podcast. Always got the cards with me. And then shoot, we played a lot more Resident Evil 9. So we have gone to a second location now. We've left the intro hospital, which has like the great Resident Evil like small building, like get to know the corridors and the layout and kind of do some puzzles and stuff. Love that. But we moved on to that, and now we are in. I'll give a couple moments for spoilers if anybody needs to leave. But we are back in Raccoon City. We came back to where it all started, and it's pretty cool. Fought a giant spider, which giant spiders are creepy. I guess a lot of people have had problems with spiders, so like some people want there to be like arachnophobia mode. But I always find fighting giant spiders to be, like cathartic. Like it gives you that kind of like, I got you, spider. But I managed not to die in my first battle with the spider, so that was good. And now I'm kind of like running around the city, going into different buildings and trying to find these parts to this. What is it? It's like a detonator. We got to get through like a fence. I don't know. It's so it's so funny. You see all the memes my wife's been sending me, because we played some Resident Evil together and like watched the movies and stuff. But it's like there's the one where Leon in game, and he just like walks up to like a half wall, and like you can't like get past it, and then Leon in cutscenes is like doing wall runs and backflips and jumping over stuff, and it's just like nothing stops him.
It's funny you mentioned the arachnophobia. My mind immediately went to like the Maury episodes where they had the people on that were, different phobias. And the one I always remember is the lady is afraid of cotton balls. So I'm like, somebody's got to do a mod of like cotton ball monsters or something.
Oh my god.
So many stupid mods that you can do on that game. So nice.
So yeah, Resident Evil 9 going well. We'll talk a little bit more about Resident Evil 9 a little bit later, but that's all I got this week.
Cool. Well, let's get into some, well, you have it as brief mentions, fast news, quick news, whatever we want to call it. That's happening right now. So as Ryan steps away, but he's still listening because I know you got earpods in. So,
sorry, I dropped a mint earlier and I didn't want the cat to get it. I think mint is bad for cats or something.
I don't know. There's a lot of things that are bad for cats and dogs that you wouldn't think. So I learned this week that pepper leaves are pretty bad for them, and so are tomato leaves, because it's a form of nightshade.
Dude, I didn't know you couldn't give like a human baby water for like a long time.
Yeah, it's 1 year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. Like it actually will enlarge the brain and cause issues. So yeah, no water. Well, no water like by itself. Obviously, formula's different. So, yeah.
Water plus.
Yep. So, which makes, obviously hydrating them when they're sick at that age, a little bit of a pain.
Just a light misting.
No, I don't think they soak it up into their skin like reptiles. So, the first thing here is Steam, not really Steam, being investigated by the FBI. So the FBI has noted several games that have had malware in them. And not really even the games themselves. It's more of third-party modifications that have been put into market. So those games being Block Blasters, Chimia, Dashverse / Dash FPS, Lampy, Lunara, Pirate Fi, and Token Nova are part of this investigation. So really what it kind of came down to is I think they're Schedule 1 games, if I'm correct, and then Steam obviously is hosting it. So the FBI has noted that those games in particular have had malware, and they're chatting with the people that have been affected by this malware. Where did you get the game? Who told you to download it? Where did you get the link, etc., and how they were affected by it. So that's the big thing that's occurring. So it's not Schedule 1. It's not Steam that's being investigated by the FBI. It's specifically the source of those mods and those games themselves is how I understand it. So that's some pretty big news that came through this week. Another thing is Nintendo and Disney. So Disney Dreamlight Valley is going to have its own special Nintendo Switch 2 console. There's going to be 4 of them that are going to be made, and those are going to be given away to 4 lucky people. Just another FOMO type of situation, right?
I mean, they've run kind of contests for like this forever. Like, remember the KF console? Cooks Your Chicken?
I mean, there's been a lot of them. You've got like the Heineken console on GameCube that was out years ago. Like, there's always been like these special one-off
consoles. This one looks pretty.
Yeah, this looks pretty cool. I like it.
I don't know about like the front of the dock.
Yeah, I don't like.
I like just kind of this like thorns and kind of like dreamy colors motif with the Disney castle. Like that looks pretty cool. Like certainly wouldn't be mad at a handsome system like that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure one day I'll end up. I don't know. Like I really wanted. Remember when I really wanted the Pokemon Switch?
Yeah, the gold and silver one, I think. Yeah. Oh no, yeah, that one. Yeah, those are pretty cool too. I mean, special consoles are nice. Are they necessary? Not really. In my opinion, all this really is Disney is getting a crap ton of entries, which you know what that means. That means a lot of contact info via email that they're getting from these folks to add to their newsletter list. That's
all those people getting Disneyland coupons.
Well, so here's the thing. You're going to have, hundreds of thousands of people that are going to enter for this, and now they're going to be on their list, and probably Nintendo mailing lists as well. So that's really what it's all about. They're going to be paying for essentially $2,000 worth of retail giveaway to get hundreds of thousands of email addresses and contact information. That is absurdly low to do something like that. So it's a really big marketing ploy, obviously.
Watch your spam folders, folks.
That's going to be happening. So that's really at the end of the day what they're doing here. And then the other thing that we've got is the long-awaited Dan deck that came out through Secret Lair. Dude.
Thanks to my man. Are you over here? Which way are you up from me? Wherever you are.
You're pointing in the right direction. You're over here for me, which I don't know. We'll see. Depends on how we finalize the edit here. But yeah, so you and I were able to get 2 of those decks, 1 each. So pretty cool. I love the artwork on this, by the way, when it was initially showcased back in like December, I think it was. And so it's got full art lands that are foil. So 20 full art lands that are foil. It's got 10 Dandans, and it's got multiples of other cards as well built in a deck. The entire premise is like blue chess. You've got an 80-card deck that 2 people play through, and the idea being is you've got to deal as much damage as you can with Dandans on your opponent. For those that don't really know Magic or do play Magic and maybe don't know about Dandan specifically, it cannot deal damage unless your opponent controls an island. Well, the lands are islands, so you're essentially trying to control the top of the deck, control the dandans your opponent has and try and out damage the other methodically. And so because you're playing the same deck, it is pretty much, like I said, blue chess. There's a lot of people pissed off right now because this deck sold out in 30 minutes in the US. And that's upset a lot of folks because of scalping and all of that good stuff that comes with it. Really at the end of the day, if somebody buys, I don't know how many, like if you go on TCG and look at the listings right now, the deck was selling at a retail rate through Secret Lair at $99 plus tax. So we each paid $108, I think, for this. They're currently being sold on TCG for like $270 something, and then the dandans are being split off for $25 a piece. The lands are like $13 each, which doesn't surprise me in general. But yeah, there's a lot of people pissed off. I mean, realistically, if you got somebody on there and they've got like 10 copies of his deck that they're selling, then yeah. If I'm a Magic player, I'm not supporting somebody that has 10 copies of it. Now, if it's a deck or that somebody's selling and they have one of them on there, meaning they probably bought one for themselves and one to list online like that, I don't necessarily consider that scalping. I just kind of see it as an opportunity that somebody's taking to sell that one extra, right? But somebody's buying.
If it's a limited stock kind of thing,
it is, yeah. I don't remember if there was a limit or not. Usually on these types of things, I want to say it's like a limit of 2 each. But if somebody on there on TCG has like clearly 10 or 20 for sale, then obviously it's a scalper, right? That's the equivalent of somebody going into a Target or a Walmart and grabbing all the Pokemon packs off the shelf, right? And we've seen videos like that.
I've got a story for that. For today is Thursday.
No, it's Friday, the 20th.
Friday, sorry, it's Friday. Yesterday was Thursday. The BTS new album dropped. And so my wife went to Target this morning to try to get some stuff. And there was this huge line. She sent me a picture as she was like pulling up to the Target. Most of those people were there for Pokemon cards. Just, I don't know if a new set dropped today or if it's just a random Friday, but like there was a giant line outside of Target and most of them were there for Pokemon. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and somebody's going to try and take as much as they can. At least I think Target has limitations on how many you can buy. But yeah, like even
it's crazy the world we live in where it's just like, has it always been this way? Or is it just, I guess now that e-commerce is so like
easy,
casual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's always been eBay, but it wasn't probably a lot of people, just making a living off of buying and selling stuff to parents of children that should be able to just buy it at retail.
Well, it's the scarcity component of it, right? So they create like this false scarcity to try and get people to pick up the product faster. Because realistically, Pokemon Company could print probably 5 times the amount and then release it into the market and flood the market. But then that kills the collectability nature because you got too much stuff going around. So people are trying to get that big hit, and those big hits are like what, a couple $100, $200, and then they grade it and sell it for thousands, whatever it may be. So that's really what it's kind of come down to. It's like the collectible card market in general has just gotten to the point where people are trying to buy a crap ton of packs to break it open, get a hit, and then grade it.
Well, and we're right on the brink of the next Strixhaven, right? And that was huge for their like extra sheet last time Strixhaven was out.
Yeah, but they have those collectible, like the collector version decks. So like your standard booster boxes, I think are okay. It's the collector packs that are being sold out at like stupid rates. So that's the one thing I feel that Wizards has done right. Like, yes, they have those collector booster boxes and they get sold out really quick and people scalp them and they grade things and have the serialized numbers and all that good stuff, right? But at least the ability to still pick up regular versions of the cards is still present and in a separate type of setting. So it doesn't go crazy, right? On those in particular. So I do kind of appreciate that. Going back to the Secret Lair piece, there's a lot of people that, do feel like this should have just been a retail play, should have just been available in stores.
That would have been sick.
Yeah, print on demand. That would have been pretty cool for folks to get their hands on that. Just given the nature of what this deck is, I would like to see Wizards maybe release a different version of it with maybe different art and at least put that in for, another special version essentially for consumers to purchase within stores. So maybe this one stays a Secret Lair, but they put a print on demand type of deal into market, so others can enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, I like the collectible nature of this particular deck, and it sucks not everybody could get their hands on it. And I think that really, when it was all said and done, the thing that came across my mind is it would be fantastic if Wizards had more of a pre-order focus on things like Secret Lair, and or not even necessarily print on demand, but like, and I think we discussed this, having a certain amount available. So maybe having like 5,000 copies of that available right offhand to ship out, and then doing like a 24-hour pre-order window with a limitation, of course. So anybody that wants one, they can get it right away. And then if there's a certain amount, like whoever the first group of 5,000 is, they'll get their cards right away, and then allowing them like several months to print out the rest. Like that would, I think, keep people fairly happy, right? So they're going to sell out of that initial stock, and then they're not going to have additional stock because they're going to know 24-hour window, this is all we got to print remaining, and let's get that done. But they'll never do that because they want the FOMO. So, all right. Jumping.
So
anything
it
else?
looks like, just looking online for like the OG like Dan deck list here,
Mm-hmm.
Card Kingdom, it's like 190 just to like get all the cards you need, like without like the modern print. So I wonder if that will kind of be lowered down at all with the introduction of this. I don't know.
I don't think it should be that much. I don't remember what the standard rate is, but like some of the cards I was looking. Oh, you're looking at the original.
Dan's like $20.
Dan-Dan's, I don't think Dan-Dan's $20. I think Dan-Dan's like a 40-cent card depending on which set you get it in. So let's see. Time shifted. No, we don't want to look at that. We want to look at all versions. Yeah, you can get Dan 5th edition for $1.
Okay. So like, you could build your own Dan if you wanted for way cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, islands are islands. You get 20 of those. Dan, you need 10. That's $10 right there. One of the cards I looked at in this current set that was released was like under $1, but the version that we get is like $8 for a foil. So, it's a very cheap deck to build. That's just $1 is the cheapest I see here. Average market price of like $2. So I think you can make a Dan deck for under $100. And the other thing to consider is that there's multiple variants of the cards that are put into a Dan deck. So if you're, I don't know, one particular card that normally would be in there, you can find a substitute that'll give you a similar effect.
I mean, it's not like a legal thing either. You're not playing this in a tournament, so you could just proxy the whole damn thing for nothing.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people said too. Just proxy it, just to have fun with the Dan deck. And you had mentioned before we start recording that there's different types of decks out there, and I was looking at them as well. I was curious what other types of decks are present for like a 2-player game like this. There's actually a really cool one that I looked up. It was called, let's see, MTG formats. So you have Dan. You have Don, which is a mono white variant of Dan built around Luxon Peacekeeper. You've got Rock Paper Scissors as a deck. There's Wizard's Tower is another thing. What's the other one? There was one really cool. I gotta look it up. There's like a black deck that's focused on graveyard play, and it's up to 4 players. And you build, I think, is it Miracle? I don't remember the name of the card, but it's focused on graveyard hate, basically, like, or graveyard play. And so that's pretty cool as well. There's tribal stuff as well, like tribal builds.
There's a lot of cool formats. I watched a video a couple years ago about like dead formats in Magic, or just like other like homebrew formats. And there's like Rainbow, where you've got like all the different colors in a deck, or like there was one that was like, I don't know. I remember there's a bunch of them sounded really cool.
There's a multiplayer format that I was it's probably a different name, but it was introduced to me as Star. And so you play as all the different colors, and you sit at, whatever table. And the idea being, it's kind of, well, it's not like the one that we play, Kingdoms, but It's
Can you only attack the people next to you or something?
no, so like you take like the magic card and you have like, white and then you've got like green and white. And so the idea being you're seated next to an ally and the person across from you I think is an enemy if I recall. Something along
Mhm.
those lines. So basically you're fighting your enemy colors and you're supporting your ally colors support you, right? But the idea
So
being
each person plays on mono deck?
yeah. So it's supposed to be a mono deck, or you can play, stand like whatever decks you
Ally
want.
color pairs?
Yeah, and then just have the colors paired up, and then everybody like, okay, you're an island, you're a swamp, you're a forest,
Mhm.
and you play in that method. But uh, really, what it kind of comes down to is like you're one color, and you're seated next to an ally, but they're seated next to one of your enemies on the other side. So you're trying to hit them, but your allies also needing to protect them as well.
Yeah, the guy on your left, you're teaming up against your guy, but the guy on your right is against the guy on your left
Yeah.
because he's teamed up with the guy on his left.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's been a while since I played that format, but I always enjoyed that one when I played that one back in college. And then obviously we've played
That sounds
Kingdoms.
interesting.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool one. I enjoy that. Kingdoms is fun, but
Kingdoms is
Kingdoms
heck of fun.
Kingdom is not as much fun I feel as the other one because in Kingdoms you have the king or whatever, right? And then you have the barbarians, you have the assassin, you've got the usurper, and then you have the knight. But everyone knows who the king is, and so generally, I think it's unfair because the barbarians are going to obviously try and kill the king, so you're going to know right away who the barbarians are.
Not
You're
always.
not always, but and then you have like the assassin usurper are trying to play the knight. Your barbarians are usually outed pretty quick. I think the knight usurper and the assassin generally are the ones that kind of fly under the radar and can play that mind game. And then the king is just like, you got to try and kill the king. Everybody does in some respect, other than the knight.
But
So
he's got like twice as much health or something, right?
yeah, I think he has like 50 health or 40 health or something. Everybody else has 20 or it's like 50 and 40. I don't remember exactly, but yeah. So I mean, if you're a Magic player, there's tons of different fun homebrew type formats that are out there that you can play for multiplayer games that are fantastic and a good time. So honestly, I enjoy casual play more than I do playing at a store nowadays. Just have to have a group to do it consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Move all the way to Washington so he can never play Magic with me again.
Right, I know, and I'm back in class on Fridays again, so I can't
Yeah.
even go do Friday Night Magic anymore.
Yep. All right. Well, let's.
I haven't been out since Avatar pre-release.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one. So there's people that like it. I'm just not going to touch anything that's like that far off, in my opinion.
Or wait, no, the other one came after that.
Larwin.
Larwin, yeah, I did go to Larwin.
And then Ninja Turtles came out, and next is Strixhaven, which should be good. Yeah. All right. So you got the first article here.
All right, Crimson Desert's Metacritic score leads to 30% Pearl Abyss stock drop. This comes to us from Paul Tassi at Forbes. Yeah, so I told John the other day, I was like, I'm holding off on sending my article because I know somebody's gonna come up with something that I want to talk about that kind of more summarizes like what's going on with Crimson Desert, just because this has been like the hype. This has been like he compares it, I think, in here at one point to Black Myth Wukong, which I think is kind of like the most apt comparison because it's from a studio and a region that we don't really see a lot of like big time releases from. And this game has been like, here's like, everybody calls it the kitchen sink game because it's just got like everything in it, but it also just looks too good to be true. And we've seen a lot of those like too good to be true looking games. So everybody's been like real excited to see what the deal actually is because there's been a little bit of hands on. I've definitely heard some people do some preview talks about it, but the biggest deal is just that it's so big, it's kind of hard to really get into. Like I've definitely heard people say that it's like 4 to 6 hours of like tutorialing.
Ooh.
your way until you're like really kind of opening up more. And there's just so many systems and they try to layer things too much. I've just heard it's fun, it's cool, there's a bunch of stuff to see and do, but like there's like a billion controls and like sometimes they're buried under menus and it's like you've got to do this to do that to do this, and it's just like I don't know, man. I don't know how all of that is really going to play out, and now we see it. So they dropped at a 78 out of 100. So it's not great. He does do a pretty good job summarizing in here about, the games industry, unlike a lot of other industries, is basically like a 7 to 10 grading scale. Like almost no games that are worth that anybody even thinks about come out under a 7. Like if you're not at least a 7, you might as well not have made a game in most people's eyes. Like you could still get like a little cult following, or a good bunch of people that like your game, and there's nothing wrong with trying something, but yeah, your big companies putting out multi-$100 million titles do not want to see 7s. They want to see 9s or higher, basically, or everybody is fired.
So I think this would have probably, on Metacritic specifically, would have been maybe an 80. There's one review on there, it's like a 42. And I feel
Somebody
like,
tanked it.
yeah, so I feel like that one maybe dropped it a couple percentage points. When I last looked, it was maybe, 20 reviews on there for critics. I don't remember the exact number, but I feel like a 40 is probably unfair for this game.
I mean, there's 85 reviews in the like snapshot.
Yeah. I don't remember the exact. Oh, that one. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. So maybe that one dips it a percent or two because of how low it is, or just gets it below like 79, given where it's at. But I didn't see any user scores yet on there. So maybe that's kind of coming pretty soon. I'd be more interested in user scores uh, to see where it lands, and not necessarily a Metacritic, but other types of websites.
I'm sure by Monday we'll have a pretty good little balance to see like how the no lifers who are like already somehow 40 hours in
Yeah, we'll
by
see.
Monday.
Well,
And then like
if they can get past the tutorial, apparently the tutorial's like balls hard, man.
yeah, so and some of the puzzles are kind of hard, but like in obtuse ways. But I think that this is definitely a game that at some point I want to try out. I don't think it's really going to be a day one, just because like I'm going on a trip next week. I'm still like trying to squeeze in Guilty Gear whenever I really feel like I can. I need to keep doing my walking and doing Dragon Quest. I've got to fit Ico in somewhere this year. And then what else? I'm still playing Pokemon a little bit, and Soros comes out at the beginning of next month, and I really Brie loves Rahul Kohli, and I think he's pretty sweet too. And that game looks sick. Obviously, I never beat Returnal, but that studio did such a good job. I'm just super compelled to play that next one as soon as it comes out. So I think that's going to be like my next new game. And then Crimson Desert, I don't know. That's definitely a game that like I'll buy it later on down the road when it's on sale.
Well, from what I've heard, it's 120 gigabytes, and 80 of it's on a disc, and then 40 of it's to download to even play it. So it's one of those types of games, right? Pretty much the equivalent of a key card in a sense. That's what I've heard. I haven't really like looked too deep into it, but I've seen it. Okay, so I've seen a few people have mentioned that, but I've seen some great reviews overall from users on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter or X. So I think it's going to have overall like pretty positive reviews from a user perspective. But similar to you, it's supposed to be a very long game. I'm playing Valkyrie Profile right now. I don't have the time to sink, my time into a game like that right now. And then I do want to play Beast of Reincarnation when that comes out. So,
we're both in the same boat. Like it looks cool, but we don't really have time for Elden Ring.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be Elden Ring. I'll play another Elden Ring, but I wouldn't, and that wouldn't even be a day one for me either, just given what's on the docket right now. But yeah, I mean, still, it looks great. I'm definitely interested, just not right now. So, all right. So for me, Jensen Wong of Nvidia says that gamers are completely wrong about DLSS 5, and he's responded to some of the backlash, and this comes to us from Tom's Hardware. So Nvidia released, they had a presentation on DLSS 5 with the AI components of this, which takes like video games and re-renders it with AI, making that like really sloppy AI look where it looks like real, but it's obviously fake and it's AI generated people, and it pushes it to be a little too AI feeling. And the big backlash that came out of it was gamers and developers saying like, "Hey, you're taking away the artistic component of video games. Like this is not cool whatsoever." And Nvidia came back and said, no, you're all completely wrong. This is during the development phase when it's all like the geometric shapes and everything. The developer has the full ability to utilize this to do rendering and smoothing and textures and shadows and all these other things. This isn't post-production at all. I kind of think the way it was presented was post-production. So I think this is Nvidia getting a crap ton of backlash and then taking a step back and then saying like, no, we're not trying to step on artistic freedom. We're just looking to give developers more tools. I don't know if I buy that, man. I kind of feel like the way that they had this set up was, hey, if you're a gamer, you can enhance the look and feel of your video game so it looks like this. And I'll say, like, in my opinion, I love the realistic look. I think it's pretty cool, but I'm not a big fan of taking that video game as a fan and enhancing it further, through AI. Like I do feel like that does take away the artistic aspects of video games. There are little things you can do, and you've been able to do in the passive modifications, which are always fun. But they're mods, right? Like they're directly into the game itself. It's a little different. And that's still artistic freedom in a sense. There are some mods that might enhance like smoothing and things like that, but it never truly changes. Well, some of them do, right? Some of the videos I've seen like Shrek coming out of Resident Evil, but like
Well, and
normally,
that's what this is. Like, I mean,
yeah,
that's a much more flagrant version, but I
yeah,
mean,
but it's very
it's
obvious like
essentially
that's not.
changing what was there.
Yeah, yeah. The Shrek stuff, like those are like memes, I think, right? Like no person in their right mind
Yeah.
looks at that and says, "Hey, I'm gonna play an entire game where all of the zombies do the Michael Jackson sound," which I saw for one as well. Like those are just supposed to be stupid fun and after the fact, right? Whereas this is truly changing the intended visual direction, like across the board for environments and everything else, and basically makes the developer and the designers and such look obsolete is what it's doing.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's coming to the defense of like the art in these situations, and beyond just like artist intent and what they wanted, it does bring in a lot of like the biggest thing with like the Grace example is kind of like she's been yassified. Everybody's like, well, obviously it must be drawing on data sets that include things like Instagram or some other place where it's basically, like where is it getting this like makeup and skin texture and all this stuff that it's applying to it? Like it's not pulling it from another game. It's got to be pulling it from some kind of outside. And in this situation, the game made an objective choice where it was like, okay, or whoever made this filter made an objective choice like, well, Grace needs to be, prettier, like, or whatever you want to put in, like, but they like gave her makeup and they changed like everything about like her appearance in this scene, in a scene where she's like going to where her mom was murdered, and she's this like really shy, like stuttering, like new seeming like FBI agent who just like you really wouldn't imagine that she was thinking about her makeup on her way to do this. So it like the system doesn't have any context for anything. It just sees an image and it says, how can I make this image more appealing in the generic way that I was designed to do so? And it'll do that regardless of the scene. Like, there's a time and a place for a hot chicks and zombies, and maybe it's not best for a machine to decide those moments.
Leave it to
Maybe
Lollipop
that's
Chainsaw.
still left to a human. Yeah. So the other thing is that technologies like this, as much as it is up to the studio to be able to use that technology, we all know that a lot of times CEOs and people in charge hear buzzwords and technologies and AIs, and they're like, use this if you want money. And so, you know, it may be up to them to implement it, but it may not be their choice to use it or not. You know, this may seem like an extra thing. Like, I've heard a lot of people talking about, what is DLSS about this? Like, this isn't doing what DLSS is, and you're just kind of tacking this on and writing on the DLSS name to put this out there as another thing. So like, it may start off this way and creep its way into, you know, more mandatory use or regular use. Like, is this going to make all games kind of look similar-ish? You know, do we want our games to look hyper realistic? Like, I don't think so. I think like kind of the timelessness of an art holds that game in a way that, you know, a lot of other games that have tried to be crazy photorealistic fall off. And I don't know, it's a big battleground. There's so many things, and unfortunately, the inevitability of all of this technology is just kind of that looming presence. Like, I feel like we can all stand and fight the good fight and, you know, say what we want, but it feels like this is unfortunately kind of the future and where things are going. And people with more money and more matrixy looking jackets than we have are going to be the ones to make these decisions and implement them.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned like, you know, CEOs and other folks that are really looking at it from a profit perspective, which is, you know, fine for a company to try and maximize profit and such, if that's their overall goals. But, you know, I remember a leader one time told me, you know, I want to know, you know, where you're using AI. And it never felt like it was, I can use it for my work to enhance it where I feel I need to. It was always like a forced function. Like, no, you need to be using AI in your day to day. And realistically, I didn't need to. It just made my job a little easier in what I was doing, you know, for writing and such, right? Like, it's a great first draft, but it's not great for a final draft. Like, I still need to do back end work to make things happen, right? Like, AI is not a magic wand that just happens. This makes it seem like it's a magic wand, but there's still a lot of work on the back end that needs to happen. So you're right. Like, a CEO looks at this and says, oh, I can cut whatever amount of my dev team, right? Because we're going to use AI and we're going to make it look hyper realistic, just from that little bit of a preview. So yeah, it's to your point, it's inevitable. I think it's going to go down this route. All are all games going to look like this hyper realistic look? Maybe like the AAA, like big studios. I don't see a lot of indie devs maybe going down this route. For one thing, it's very expensive. This DLSS 5 apparently needs two 5080s to run, from what I was reading. So it is a pretty pricey process anyways, especially for like indie devs. So I can see, and this is what I've kind of thought about anyways, with all of the AI and these studios shutting people down, or not shutting down, but studios shutting down and then layoffs and all this other stuff that's happening. You're going to get a lot of the creatives out in the space who are going to do their own thing on the indie scene, are going to release fantastic games. And, you know, I think in a way, while AI sucks and what it's doing, I think it's really enriching the video game environment as well, in the manner of devs being able to just segment out and do their own thing, right? And create great products and art. So,
You know, I haven't really thought about it until just right now while we were talking about like AI and studios and devs and stuff, but like, I wonder if all of this pressure from AI to like buy up all of the hardware right now, like I wonder if that is going to put a hamper on future of games being made and new studios being formed. Like if you can't get enough people in a room with good computers to make a game, like isn't that kind of like a big part of like spinning up a studio is like getting desks for all your workers and computers set up? And
Well,
wonder if that's gonna make it harder right now to actually start making
well,
games.
here's the other thing too, right? Like if all of the if all the RAM and all the hard drives are being made for like generating AI content, how the hell are gamers going to play this if they can't afford the parts to make a computer and the
Mm-hmm.
prices of that go up drastically? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You might buy the Steam machine, but that's going to be more expensive. The game consoles are
So
more
maybe that's
priced.
why they're making this is so that they can sell their own stuff to make their own stuff. And there's no consumers. Like if they just sell to the devs because the devs need the tech, but the tech needs the hardware. It's just
Yeah.
you
But
don't even need the customers to buy it anymore.
the gamers can't buy it, so we're just gonna the devs are gonna be making games and streaming it, and we're just gonna get to watch video games, in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of ridiculous, like the long thought process here. Okay, yeah, we're gonna put all of these resources into AI and all these, and it's gonna be so expensive to make video games now. And well, that means we got to increase the price on consumers for the actual hardware to play this stuff. You're not gonna have enough consumers to play it.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to build a new computer right now or upgrade a couple things. Not happening. Dude, I didn't tell you this. I bought, my two 14 gigabyte hard drives I bought last year for $159 are now selling for $299 as refurbished drives.
Dang.
Like, it's insane how expensive hard drives have gotten just in 1 year's time. So, and RAM obviously is ridiculous as well. So, yeah, I don't think this benefits anybody long term. And hopefully, there is some sort of resolution to getting cheaper RAM and hard drives out to the general public so we can start to enjoy these games that developers are creating, and then of course getting screwed over with their AI in production. So okay, so the last thing we have here this week is Pepsiman. This was developed by Kid, published by Kid, designed by, oh man, I should have done my hyphens, uh, Nobuaki Umida, Nozumi Takaguchi, and Keisuke Ito. I'm assuming I got that right. It was released in March of 1999. It is an action endless runner, reception of 8 out of 10 on average. And then Ryan, what is Pepsi Man about?
Pepsi Man.
There you go. Great. I was gonna put that. I probably still will. I'll probably put that in the intro for us. I thought this was great, dude. I thought it was awesome.
Is this your first exposure to Pepsi Man?
I had seen it, but I hadn't played it before. And
Oh.
so this was a Japanese only release. It was never released in the US. So it's funny, they've got an American actor who's playing like the B-roll cut scenes for Pepsi Man. Super cheap game, by the way, when it was made. And all of the subtitles are in Japanese, but you got him speaking English. So like the whole game is pretty much English except for the subtitles. And it's great. So Pepsi Man, the history behind that is they had a Pepsi mascot, a Pepsi Man within Japan. They had awesome commercials for Pepsi Man. And Sony decided, let's do a spinoff and make a Pepsi Man game. And man, did they make a game. Didn't sell very well, became a cult classic over the years. And of course, has skyrocketed in price for what it is. And just the whole focus is there are tons of people that are thirsty and want Pepsi. And you need to get to the vending machine and put Pepsi in those machines. And so you run around collecting cans, avoiding obstacles, jumping over things, going under stuff, going into houses, rolling on barrels, ton of stuff to make your way to that vending machine and make the people happy with some refreshing Pepsi. That's your cue to drink some Pepsi in the process. There we go. It's all done. So there's 4 main levels of 3 stages on each, 12 total. Super quick game. And my son was on my lap while we were playing. He absolutely loved it. And he was screaming Pepsi Man the rest of the night. So
nice.
It was awesome. Yeah, he was doing the Pepsi Man thing that you just did all night. It was annoying, but it was also hilarious to see him enjoying Pepsi Man. So, but I had a good time. That was great.
Yeah, this is a good, fun brand tie-in game. It's unique. There's not a whole lot of these kind of like endless runner games that I remember from this era. I know they're wildly popular now, so who knows? Maybe Pepsi Man will make a comeback on phones, and kids will play it as a second screen thing. But it was cool to finally be able to play the game. Yeah, I've seen a lot of other YouTubers and stuff talk about this game over the years. Pretty simple, not a whole lot going on with it. I'm sure that there's some challenge in probably trying to like collect all of the Pepsi cans on each level. It's cool. Check it out. Don't buy it. It's expensive. It's real expensive. You don't want to buy it.
Is that my cue? That's my cue.
Yeah, go for it.
So Pepsi Man Complete in Box, $269.85. That's currently at its peak as of March 2026. It's trending up in price. Loose copy will run you $129.10. That peaked at $165 in June of 2025. That's also trending up. Obviously, it's inflated. Like I think that's pretty clear. Or if you want to pick it up and have a Japanese console, you could do that. But it was, it's a fun game, right? Like I think graphically, it definitely holds up. I think it's got some quirky, fun components to it. The entire gimmick of Pepsi Man and the mascot and what he's got going. It is a giant ass commercial. I mean, you got Pepsi trucks, Pepsi cans you're collecting, Pepsi machines, literally the video. The actor that plays his part in the game like has handfuls of Pepsi, and it's a great time. It's not $269.85 great time, but it's a good time. So
I do have to say it's a banger case.
It is pretty
Have
cool.
You seen
case.
the case?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's just
got Pepsi Man up
Pepsi
front
Man giving
drink.
you the finger, and it just says drink.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they nailed it. Did not drop the ball. The disc is just the Pepsi logo, which is perfect. So mad props to anybody who does have the money to drop for the Pepsi Man case and game, or if you've had it this whole time, congratulations to you.
Yeah,
you're the real winner.
So cool. I mean, this was a pretty good game. Next week we're gonna play Yo Noid on the NES. That, from what I'm reading, also pretty decent reviews. So I don't get what it was in this era where they just had like banger titles coming out as advertisements. This is solid stuff, man. We should do Food Month every month. There's just not enough of those games. Right? Yeah. So either we got really lucky with the selection of games,
like we just picked the best ones,
and then all the others are
like,
crap.
Honestly, a Cool Spot is the only one that either of us had played before this, right? And I think it's going to wind up being probably my least favorite of them, depending on how Noid goes, which is shocking.
I had played McDonald's Treasureland Adventure before. I played that years ago. And I haven't played Yo Noid before. And obviously I hadn't played Pepsi Man before. But yeah, I played the other two, and they were both great as well. But that is it for this week's episode of the Game Deflators. So my name is John.
I'm Ryan.
And thanks for listening and watching.